Everybody, welcome to GeekStorm. I'm Sean Hilton, and today I'm joined by my good friend Mike Dukes. Today we are filmed in the heart of downtown Kokomo on Geek Street at Kokomo Toys and Collectibles, located at 111 East Sycamore, just down the street from the store that I own, Comics Cubed. Lots of cool stuff to talk about today. So, Mike, Robert Ghoulia has died, or Guillaume.
Saw that.
I looked it up. That's who I meant to talk about last week when we couldn't remember it. No disrespect, but
Did you watch Benson when you were younger?
I did. I watched Benson. I didn't watch Soap. Soap is where that character, I guess, originated from, and then spun off of Soap into Benson.
Soap was hilarious. It just, I kind of intermittently caught it, but then when Benson became its own thing, I watched every episode.
He was, I think, pre-Cosby. He was a black actor who I think helped cross over a little bit. When you watched Benson, it didn't feel like it was for one audience. It didn't feel like it was for a white audience or a black audience or somewhere in between. It seemed like it was for all audiences. That and on top of it, he wasn't a silly character.
No.
He wasn't. He was the brains behind the outfit. He's the guy that kept things going. So, I don't know that it was trailblazing per se, but...
Well, if you think about it, you had Benson and the Jeffersons was really about the only black cast shows that were on at that time.
That I can think of without doing a bunch of research. I'm sure that there was probably some, there was who was Rerun?
What's Happening?
What's Happening and stuff like that. But all those, even the Jeffersons, was silly. And What's Happening was kind of silly. They were, situation comedies. Benson was a situation comedy, but he wasn't necessarily the one. He was usually the straight man. He was the wise man. He was the one that was in control. And I don't know, as a youth who grew up on those sort of things, he is the first actor with, who was black that I remember thinking, that guy's got it under control. That's somebody I could be down with. Plus, and later in his career, he did a 30-minute thing with Aaron Sorkin based on Sports Center. Can't remember exactly what it was called. It was like something center or something like that. But it was a sports centery type show, 30-minute kind of drama comedy, dramedy, where he was the producer, head guy of a studio that took care of that sort of thing. So great show, Aaron Sorkin. So
never caught
highly
it.
Recommend it. To find it, as fortunately I'm horrible with this stuff, but just type in Robert Ghoulia or as close as you can. It'll autocorrect. Look up his IDB or Aaron Sorkin and check it out. It's one of the earlier things I think Sorkin did for television. I want to say he'd even had a laugh track for a little while, which is really out of sorts with the kind of comedy this was. So he will be missed. It turns out Gary Marshall died like a year or so ago, so he's still dead. Sorry, Gary Marshall, but inside joke.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what's been going on with you, good sir, in the world of geekdom?
A lot of Kickstarter videos, a lot of Kickstarters in general.
Now, do you notice with Kickstarter, does it pick up at any point in time of the year? I would assume like before Gen Con and Origins, there's probably a big pickup, or just after?
Usually in the spring, because that way it gives them a chance to get the Kickstarter done and then hopefully, possibly have a few print runs ready for Gen Con.
Okay.
And then the fall.
And then
At
with
least
fall, are we looking for the Christmas thing, or is it just after Gen Con and now everybody's got a little bit more money? Hopefully, they've it's regenerated.
Some people maybe, the Monster Hunters Club was geared more toward a Halloween kind of vibe. Plus, they timed theirs specifically because they knew Stranger Things Season 2 was coming out, and that's essentially the vibe they're going for. And it's helped, because a lot of times a Kickstarter campaign will start really strong and end really strong, and in that middle period, it's just kind of a lull. They've managed to just continually boom, 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 boom. It hasn't been, major jumps, but it's continually growed. I mean, they've got through a number of stretch goals.
And this is Monster Hunters Club. Is it an RPG or a board game?
RPG, it's the setting for Savage Worlds, where you play...
So it's Savage Worlds rules, but doing a Stranger Things theme unofficially.
Kids in the 80s fighting monsters.
So... Monster Squad, Stranger Things,
Lost Boys,
Goonies,
the whole thing.
Lost Boys, Gremlins. So anything like that, that's the kind of thing. So that's kind of cool, especially for people our age that grew up with that sort of thing. That's That's interesting.
For
Now,
a lot
did
of
it fund already? Is it done?
Oh yeah, it's funded. I mean, the campaign's still going for another 15 days.
Okay.
It's funded. It's gone through 4, 5, 6 stretch goals already.
Wow. All right.
It's doing pretty well.
Well, talking about Stranger Things, came out just a few days ago on Netflix, hit, and you had a source you were talking about that was showing viewing numbers over just 3 days.
I didn't check all. I can't verify this, but apparently the Nielsen rating system,
Okay.
they got a hold of some information somehow.
Oh,
And
interesting. That's the one thing with Netflix is because it is cable and its own, well, not even cable, it's its own thing, it doesn't get the ratings kind of numbers that we get from a traditional series.
And that's
Those
always been a
series-
question when it came to Netflix is how is this show doing? Other than looking on social media and seeing how much people are talking about something, there's no real way to gauge it. How much money are they actually making off of this? Well, apparently first 3 days, the premiere episode at least, got over 15 million viewers.
15 million viewers. That is now, I mean, one, it's really probably one of the most talked about shows. I don't know that more people weren't talking about it than Walking Dead at this point.
In all honesty, I've completely forgotten about Walking Dead. I know new season started, but I
haven't watched an episode. I'm still only 3 episodes into last season. It's lost its luster for me. It's really not event television for me anymore.
Apparently, we're not the only ones, because from what I understand, the ratings were...
I heard it took a huge, or I was reading that it took a huge drop, the biggest drop that it's like ever seen. So we'll see how much longer the Walking Dead television show has legs. The only interesting that comes out of the fact that if Walking Dead is in a lull, or if it is maybe finally losing, the bloom, is what will they do to jump that shark? Who's gonna die? What are they gonna shake up? And then it will still, if it is going away, I don't think any of the things we've ever seen, adding a cute child, starting a new relationship, killing off a major character, none of those things that I can think of off the top of my head have ever saved a dying show. And I'm not saying it's dying, but the numbers are starting to make it look weak.
Did they do a pretty severe time jump in the comic books?
After the war with Negan, they did a significant jump. I want to say maybe 18 months or so. I would have to go back and reread. I just read the newest issue this week, and it was interesting stuff.
Because I haven't watched, like I said, I haven't watched any of the new episodes, but I did see a number of articles mentioning Old Man Rick. I guess he wakes up full white beard.
Yes,
and
they
everything.
did. They absolutely did that. And so Stranger Things, though. Back to Stranger Things. Have you caught it? I've watched the first 3.
Watched it in a single day.
Wow. All right.
My
So
Saturday started like
that
at
was
8
some
a.m.
dedication.
and
what did you feel? It was a Saturday that was well lived.
yes,
Is it? How's it hold up in your opinion against season 1?
it holds up incredibly well. There was episode 7.
Episode 7. Okay. This is
kinda
a
like-
9-episode season this year.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, you're going along this familiar line, like, okay. Episode 7,
Really?
and then back.
Okay.
Because they're trying to show that Hawkins, Indiana, this fictional town, there's a lot of weird crap going on in Hawkins, Indiana.
Yes.
What about the rest of the world? I mean, is it all happening right here? Well, they're trying to broaden the world out, show it's a larger world with things
Sure.
happening elsewhere. I don't want to spoil anything.
Did
for
they
you.
do like a Resident Evil? Like this lab? Because the thing is it doesn't make any sense that this one lab is only in Hawkins, Indiana. I have to think that there are Resident Evil labs or whatever they're called in different parts of the world.
You have, 11. She got that name because the number
Sure.
011 on her.
And we saw in the very first episode a character with, I think, number 8.
008. Well, you encounter 008 outside. In
Because she's only popped up in the first episode, in the very first scene, and then in episode 2 and 3, unless there was some weird Easter egg that I actually just missed, and I was paying pretty close attention, she's not in 2 or 3.
you get a full episode of
her?
her crew,
Okay.
how they operate, how they view things, how she view things after what happened to her, and how, since she has these abilities.
She's from New York, I want to say is what it said. Philadelphia? Thank you, sir. Philadelphia. So, East Coast. Pittsburgh. All right.
It's a city.
All right, so doing incredibly well. The 3 episodes I've seen so far, I've loved. The only reason I haven't binge watched it is for once I'm actually like making myself not do it. I'm on a Stranger Things diet because it tastes so damn good. I want to have it all, but I also want to take, and I'm not taking that much time. I think I've seen 3 episodes that came out, I don't think a week ago.
A week ago Friday, I think.
A week ago Friday, so I'm watching them fairly quickly, but and this isn't a situation where I don't think it's very good. No, it really is me like I'm going to watch this and this first, then I'm going to watch Stranger Things. So really enjoyed it. It's been quite delightful so far.
That brings up an interesting point.
What is that?
If you've got these shows coming out whole seasons, you can binge.
Mm-hmm.
There are people like you that don't want to ingest all that immediately because then it's done.
Yep. This time. Sometimes this time I'm doing it that way, but other times I don't.
Then on the reverse side, I've seen people complaining about Star Trek Discovery because they want to binge it all. Apparently, I haven't been watching it, but apparently every episode is continually better, and they want more, and they've gotten so used to being able to binge things, it's kind of like got withdrawals.
Well, and I think this is a little odd because this isn't HBO, this isn't Cinemax, this isn't Showtime. So with those kind of things, we've had cable-created shows behind a paywall, but they've always been weekly or whatever, they dole them out. CBS's paywall, because they have so many other shows, because it's all television, and they're all available now that you can binge watch them, I think people have this Netflix mentality more with the CBS All Access than they do with the HBO or with the Showtime. I think when you see this, their thought is this binge watching kind of ordeal.
What do you think about, CBS, one of the concerns was, if I want to watch Star Trek, I had to have the CBS All Access. Mm-hmm. What else am I getting?
I mean, I'm under the impression, and I haven't actually used it yet, but I'm under the impression that you're getting hundreds of CBS television shows and seasons readily available to you as their new Netflix kind of model.
Okay, so DC Comics is starting their own.
Yes.
I guess the Teen Titans show, that it's going to be their flagship.
Live action Teen Titans show.
What else are you going to put on that?
Well, they're going to give us the.
You're going to have all the cartoons and whatnot.
What is it called? The Young
Justice?
Young Justice is supposed to also be on there.
Still.
But I agree. Well, and the same thing with me with the Star Wars Disney thing. Yes, we all love Star Wars, but an entire channel that's just like Star Wars and Disney. Disney has a lot of products, so they might be able to pull that off, but that still seems like a very limited thing. Now, for anybody with kids under like 7 or 8 that uses Disney as a babysitter, then for them, yes, this is free daycare, I suppose. But I agree. What are you going to give me on a all-access DC-style channel that's going to interest me?
And then, looking at that, at what point does Disney go, okay, we're going to have just our Disney fare. We're going to start a Star Wars channel, and we're going to start a Marvel channel. You're going to have to subscribe to each one of these to get these.
Well, and we've talked about this before. At that point, and I think CBS Access has already done it, what you have done is you haven't created a new payer base as much as you've created a new pirate base. Mike has joked about the fact that anybody that's a Star Trek fan that wants to watch this and doesn't want to pay for it probably knows how to do that. That's not something that I necessarily believe is the right way to do it, but I won't, it's true. It's 100% the truth. So I think at this point, if they do that sort of thing, Disney is, they are lawsuit happy. They're more than happy to go after people. So, I see a lot more criminals. The new marijuana maybe become the new, I was watching television kind of thing. And if you ever looked up what the fines, penalties, and time that you can do for these sorts of things, you'd be really shocked. I mean, these are $250,000 kind of fines, and up to like 5 years in jail or something.
Imagine that. Okay.
For these things,
sitting in jail, a bunch of guys sitting in jail. What are you in for? Murder. What are you in for? Drug possession. What are you in for? Watching TV.
I watch Star Trek Discovery. What? So yeah. Speaking of Disney, man, those guys. Woo! All right, let's go. So. Disney has reached out to theaters to let them know, hey, by the way, we have this small indie film coming out called something about The Last Jedi. We don't know if you've heard about it or not, but here's how it's going to be. If you want to be a theater that can show Star Wars The Last Jedi, you will pay us 65% of the receipts. Now, I did have to go look it up because I wasn't sure. Well, what's the normal? The normal receipt is about 55% goes to the studio, according to one source. Now, they want a 10% bump above that, or you can't show our film. Second, you will show our film for 4 weeks from the day it comes out till the 4th week in your largest theater, period. Doesn't matter. 4 straight weeks, your largest theater, we get it, monopolized, it's ours, and we get the 10% bump. Or you can't show this film.
Didn't they do something similar with either The Force Awakens or Rogue One as far as the number of showings available?
They've done a couple different things over the year. Before Disney got their hands on it, Lucas came out and said, I want to think with the 2nd or 3rd prequel, you couldn't have his movie unless you put in digital projectors.
That I remember, digital projectors and sound.
Big deal. Now, as a moviegoer at the time, I'm like, hey, yeah.
Yeah, I was all for that.
One, again, it's still economic terrorism as far as I'm concerned, but you can call it whatever you will. It's blackmail. I don't think there's any other way that you can frame it. That's blackmail. But as a moviegoer, I was going to get a digital projector, so there was something in it for me. This time, from what I can see, there's absolutely nothing in it for the moviegoer. We're not getting some new technology that's going to make every movie better. It's straight up a cash grab from Disney in a down market. The box office, according to things I just read this morning while looking up all this, is down 5% over last year. Now, the only takeaway from this is, and this is absurd, but they only have to do that if the movie makes at least $500 million domestically. Now, even Rogue One made like $585 million domestically, and the last Star Wars film made, I want to say, $800 million domestically. So to think that this one isn't going to do that, I mean, it might make the $500 million within that 4-week span easily, let alone its lifetime. So again, it's just...
Still, aren't they shooting themselves in the foot if they're not allowing these theaters to show it? That's just money they're not getting?
I think that it comes down to, I mean, we've got the equivalent of the movie gun to your head. If you're a theater and you don't show this movie, who is going to your theater? If you weren't to show Star Wars in Kokomo, we would all get in a bus, find a ride, and we'd go someplace that was showing it. Now, the only thing that they could do is if, there was some kind of theater union, and they all said no. All of them said no to Disney. We're not going to show your film. Then all of a sudden, now Disney's got to, they got to maybe rethink things. But unfortunately, there's going to be somebody over there that's going to be like, no, we're going to show this film. So they're going to cave. They're going to get what they want.
Well, I'm also curious. I mean, I've always heard it said that they don't really make money off of the ticket sales. It's the concessions.
Well, it appears they make about 45% of the ticket sale.
Because then you've got licensed cups and popcorn buckets and Star Wars candies, and how much of that is Disney taking off as well?
They have done that in the past. They're not doing it this time. I had read again in this when I was doing up some research. The last time they did this kind of thing, they actually went after a piece of the concessions. They wanted a percentage of concession sales as well. It wasn't good enough to just get their bump or whatever else they were demanding. So again, they've got the biggest movie. They're already going to make a fortune. And now they're just putting their hands inside the cash register again and taking out more money from the studio or from the theaters who are already down. They're already taking a beating. So
who's to say this isn't just step one? I mean, when Avengers Infinity War comes out, it's going to be a pretty big movie.
I don't know that it'll be Star Wars big, but you're right. They've set the precedent. They've done it before, and the theaters have collapsed and given in. And I don't think it's going to stop. And so, but again, I think all you really have to do is everybody has to unionize, get in this mentality. Nobody is going to show this film, And now all of a sudden Disney's in some trouble.
Who else? I mean, what other movie company could effectively pull this off? I mean,
honestly,
Warner Brothers has what, the Harry Potter license as far as monster. What is it?
Universal has that.
Is it Universal?
Universal. Well, Universal Studios has all the stuff in their park, so yeah, I believe it's Universal.
Okay, well, Warner Brothers has the DC stuff, which, yeah.
Hey, so with Justice League, you have to give us an additional 10% or you can't show our movie.
And then we were joking before you got here about Avatar. There's a bit of a schism as far as some people in this store think Avatar is great, and most of us don't.
One person in the store.
Okay, one person in the store thinks it's great.
It's okay. I don't hate
Well, it's-
Avatar,
I mean,
but great.
The
No.
fact that it made, it was #1 movie for a
It
while.
was a spectacle back then.
Could
though.
James
It was,
Cameron, leverage that possibly?
no, I don't think he can. I really
So really,
don't.
effectively, you're looking at Disney.
Yeah, I think Disney's the only guy. I mean, I love Harry Potter. I'm actually more excited to see Fantastic Beasts than I am something like The Last Jedi. I'll happily go see them all, but if I could switch them and have Jedi next year in May or whenever and get Fantastic Beasts for Christmas, I'd be watching Fantastic Beasts 2 for Christmas, absolutely. But that franchise is just near and dear to my heart. But no, I don't believe that they can do that same cash grab. I don't think it would work.
And then, you've got The Last Jedi hits in December. Then come May, you've got Han Solo.
I don't know that they'll pull it with Han Solo.
I mean,
I don't think they will because I don't think Han Solo is going to be...
because of the turmoil that's happened with the filming, I think a number of people are going to be iffy about going to see that movie. You're going to have the diehards that, yes, they're going to go see it. And they're going to have a lot of people that are just kind of going to hold off and wait, see what they hear, because... they've admitted they've pretty much refilmed the entire thing. It wasn't just a few parts; it was the whole movie. Yeah. And we mentioned Paul Bettany.
Yes.
The reason he was brought in, the original actor that I can't remember what the role was, wasn't available for this refilming.
So they just took him out altogether and put in Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany took over the character.
Oh wow. So, I like Paul Bettany, so that's great for me.
But for that guy, though, he got paid, but still.
Yeah. He's not going to be on, that's
he
crazy.
won't get to say I was in a Star Wars film because...
Well, he can. It's all over the cutting room floor. There might be some director's cut eventually that, shows their part. On television front, we've got, speaking of Discovery earlier, Discovery has been picked up for a second season. I think we might have mentioned that last week. But now Orville, the Seth MacFarlane version, has also been picked up for a second season. So we have gone, I think it was over 12 years without Trek on television or something like that since Enterprise. And now all of a sudden, we've got Trek and the Orville, which is Trek Light, I think,
yeah.
Both getting picked up for second seasons. So very excited about that. I don't think that there's a loser in this situation.
No.
People want to play up Discovery versus Orville. Two very different projects, two very different ideas. Both can be, that's just it. It's like people want to pick a fight between things and pit them against each other. Sometimes
Flash Gordon versus Tarzan.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes you can just enjoy both. And in this instance, I think, you know what? I really like Orville. I'm sure I'm going to like Discovery when I finally get around to watching it. But because of the circumstances, I haven't bothered to get around watching it yet. That's not a bad thing. I'll get there. It'll be fun, and I look forward to it.
I've heard, like I said, I have heard that progressively, episode 3 on, every episode just gets better and better and better.
Yeah. And I thought that about the Orville. I thought the first two were a little, I get this is, Star Trek with, jokes. And then, but the third one is the one that hit me. I'm like, that was just a flat out Next Generation script that they put some jokes in.
Well, that was the thing. He specifically found, the cinematographer was the cinematographer for the majority of the episodes of Next Generation.
Really?
That's cool. Wanted to definitely get that vibe going throughout the whole thing.
I've said for a while now, we've said it on this show, I almost wonder if he's not setting up joke, and then as we get further into the series,
fewer jokes.
We don't see fewer and fewer jokes. Now, I think with the cast and the way it's set up, you're always going to have some, but I think it's going to get more and more serious. The last episode I saw was all about a take on our current day process of social media and interaction. And have you not seen this one? It was really good. The idea is that every single citizen has a little badge on them with an upvote or a downvote. And if you ever get so many downvotes, you are corrected. And it comes off like a lobotomy. And so, but yeah, that's if people can walk right up to you and, you know, give you a push on your little badge, or there's online voting, if, you know, stuff like that. So it was really interesting, and I think it definitely had that whole Next Generation or Star Trek take of looking at a sci-fi version of current day real world attitudes, and was I thought really well done, and with some jokes and whatnot thrown in, of course. But overall, it was a sharp little episode.
I mean, we've had no sci-fi really on TV, and now suddenly we've got Star Trek and Orville, and people are complaining. Get over yourselves.
I think there's been a lot of sci-fi. It's just been on fringe stuff. The Sci-Fi Channel has Dark Matter, or had Dark Matter. The Expanse. There's been stuff, but you're right. None of it's really gotten legs, and very little of it has ever been given a second season as of late.
Well, again, this is on Fox, the place that's known for killing things. So the fact they got a second season, that's pretty good.
Firefly, 13 episodes. Orville, 2 seasons. All right, I'm not bitter. I'm over it. So, yeah. Hey, in the world of comic books, I know you probably don't read a lot of comic books, but 2 things we want to talk about real quick. Marvel Comics has got out Captain America number 695, written by Mark Waid, art by Chris Samney. Now, you might remember from some of the things we've talked about in the past, Captain America became an evil Hydra/Nazi. Man, people were up in their arms about it. I had actual really good friends like giving me grief that I was behind it because I supported it. And I'm like, yeah, I support it. It's a comic book. They're telling a story, blah, blah, blah. Well, exactly what I said was going to happen happened. I mean, almost down to like plotting it out because it's comic books, and I've read them a long time.
Cosmic Cube, people, come on.
Yeah. Well, this gets it back to the Captain America we know, going out into little areas of America, involving himself in things, and you see 2 different time periods. Him when he first kind of came out of the ice, and now him after this event just occurred. It's a one-shot, one and done. The book is ongoing. But the story itself is one and done, which means that in one issue you get the whole story. Mark Waid does an excellent job. He's really good with Captain America. He writes Captain America incredibly well. And Samney, as the artist, gives you a really interesting look at Cap and the dynamics. His panels and layouts and his storytelling are all excellent. The whole thing is really well done. Kind of a heartfelt kind of thing, but also gets you back to classic Captain America.
Now, since he's back to normal, does he actually have his adamantium vibranium shield?
He has he does have his old shield, it looks like. Whether it's the vibranium one or a different shield, I'm not 100% sure. He doesn't use it that much in this one, but I definitely get the impression it is the shield.
Because Falcon was Captain America. And
he did.
Didn't he go back to being full, just the Falcon now? That what he's calling himself?
Yes. Yeah, now he's just Falcon. And then Black Lightning, DC, CW's got the television show coming out, written originally by Tony Isabella. Well, Tony Isabella is the writer on the new version, where they're reintroducing him into the world of DC's Rebirth and the New 52. Excellent uptake. Now, what's fun is that the new school of writers have a different way of writing comic books. The old school writers used more narration balloons, thought balloons, and Tony Isabella is an old school writer, so there's much more narration and thought balloons and things of that nature, which you won't see in the standard everyday comic. Plus, his panel counts are a little higher. Older artists and writers use more panels per book. So this is a great look at Black Lightning. If you're interested in the CW show, I highly recommend checking it out. And plus, he's just a classic. He's a really good character.
I still don't understand why, for the television show, they're separating Black Lightning from the Arrowverse.
I have no clue. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm disappointed in that aspect of things. I'm pretty much caught up on all that stuff, but the most important and interesting thing to me has been easily Flash has just brought in Ralph Dibny, the Elongated Man, and that was awesome. So big fan of that. What are we doing there, sir?
30 seconds.
Oh, well.
Wow.
That's quite, well, unfortunately, I have to go on my rant, though, because we haven't got to that yet. And
Yeah.
if I don't, Mike's going to be really mad that.
Yeah, he'll be like, I could have been in the show.
Yeah, it could have been the show. All right, so we're going to go a little over because I need to rant about something. Turns out that popular pop culture icon of the 80s. Corey Feldman has been in the news as of late. Corey Feldman, well known for the Goonies, well known for the Lost Boys, hanging out with Michael Jackson, I think License to Drive, and of course Stand By Me, which is probably his most critically acclaimed feature, has once again gotten himself into the news. Now, Corey Feldman years ago did his autobiography, his choreography is what he called it, where he came out and said that there was a cabal of child abusers and pedophiles in the Hollywood system, and that he knew who they were, but he couldn't say who they were because he was afraid for his life. That's what he's come out and said. Now, he's recently started up an IndieGoGo, a crowd-sourced funding method, so he can do a movie, not a documentary. He was very clear on this the other day on the Today Show with Matt Lauer, in an interview where he was grilled a little bit because they're like, all right, you know names, you know who the pedophiles are, you've said that these are some of the biggest, most wealthy, most affecting of Hollywood sources out there, yet you've never said anybody. Well, it's because he's scared for his life. All right. Now, if we give you $10 million, you will tell us who they are. Now, you said in your autobiography that you would tell us who they were, but you didn't do that. Now, if we give you $10 million, you'll tell us who these criminals are. These people who are raping children, who, according to you, have done the same to you and your very good friend, Corey Haim, who you state you believe one of the reasons that he took his own life was the demons that were still embroiling him from these encounters. Now, one, I believe that he's probably telling the truth. What I don't believe is that why would anybody in the world give you $10 million? Why would I give you $10 million? Why? I want to know who these people are. I want to, in the whole thing of the Harvey Weinstein thing coming to light and people snowballing on to do what's right, getting behind the train, why is it that you feel that your life is now in danger when these people are going after guys like Harvey Weinstein? Brett Ratner just got pulled out by Olivia Munn.
Kevin Spacey.
We didn't even go into the Kevin Spacey thing today. I mean, these are big names. These guys have money. They could hurt a lot of people if they wanted to. Yet you are hiding behind this $10 million extortion to tell us the names of people who are raping children. Now, one, I hope you never get the money. I hope those names do come out. I hope your career is done. I mean, relevancy hasn't knocked on your door in forever anyway. But regardless of all of that, you're currently holding the lives of countless children in your hands and extorting the parents and the rest of the world so that you can tell a movie? Not even a documentary. He's come out and said this will be scripted and acted, and this is what really set me off, was he tells in the quote to Matt Lauer, and I'm going to name all those names and nobody's going to stop me this time, period, if people support this. $10 million, Corey, really? That's the lives of all these children, all the people. Your best friend who supposedly, you believe, committed suicide, took his own life, $10 million. To protect your own life, that you really, if these are these Hollywood moguls that have all this money and all this power, you think that $10 million is going to make a bit of difference in that line of things?
First of all, $10 million to make a decent movie. Who are you going to hire? If you're so
he's going to hire himself. He's going to star in his own damn movie.
If you're so afraid that these Hollywood moguls are going to bring you down, who are you going to hire that doesn't have some kind of an association with them? They're not going to catch wind of this and try and stop you. One, pull out your phone, look at Twitter, and you'll see countless women and men not asking for money. They just are doing what is right. They're saying, this is what happened to me. This is wrong, and it needs to stop now. If you want this to stop now, Corey, name the names and then make your movie.
Yeah. And even going back a little further there, they're naming those names now. This has been going on for a while. All of these actors and actresses will tell you. Some of these things happen. The Kevin Spacey thing happened 30 years ago. So the statute of limitations on almost all these is probably up anyway. But right or wrong, whatever, there is finally a force that is pushing forward to tell the truth and to bring these things to light. This is the train. Why would you not, if all of these guys are going to do it, why would you not hitch your train to this track and get on with the momentum? Instead, you came out and did this ridiculous interview. You're doing this ridiculous IndieGoGo thing for $10 million. And you're basically, and no matter how he tries to rephrase it, because Lauer actually asked him what I was thinking was, why not just tell everybody now? And it's like, and then he comes up with these excuses. Well, other people know about it. Other people out there in Hollywood have known about it for just as long as I have. Why is it my job to do that? Well, because you're the one that keeps getting on these shows and saying it. You're the one who came out with an autobiography and got extra copies sold because you said it. You're the one that keeps getting on the Today Show because you keep saying it. Now, if it's not true, then you're just human garbage. If it is true and you're allowing it to continue, I don't know how that doesn't go the exact same way as human garbage. He's a victim. So, you know what? We got to think maybe we're not victims. I have luckily, there is no Me Too tag next to my name. I've led an incredibly lucky life. There's no skill involved in it. There was no better practices. There's no I'm a better person than you. It's sheer luck that one of us wasn't singled out in some horrible fashion, because it could happen to anybody. But again, you're extorting $10 million to tell your crappy movie that nobody wants to see. He's up to like $250,000. I don't even know how he got quite that much money. He's never going to see $10 million. It's never going to happen.
If he does see $10 million, I really don't think we'll ever see a movie.
Oh, no.
And if we do, their
He's
names
going
will
to
not
just
be
pocket
named.
this money.
It'll be,
as I said, he hasn't been relevant in forever. But here's your chance. Here's your chance to do what's right.
do the right thing.
So, hey. All right. So, there you go. We ended that on a bit of a down note, I suppose. But they can't all be Orville, Dick, and Fart jokes. So, there you go. Now, over the time, I'm under the impression yesterday he did he released one name or something. Something's popped up where somebody was on Dr. Oz or something.
Yeah.
I haven't seen exactly how that's going down, so I am curious. But it wasn't the name of anybody that I think anybody's ever heard of. It definitely didn't seem to be anybody
an actor that he worked
rich
with
or
on a couple
powerful.
of movies.
So confusing on that part. But you know what? I'm going to save some of this. Maybe I'll be surprised. I'm sure that if my little thing with you, and we're talking about it, everybody's talking about it, there's no place he's going to go ever again where that question isn't going to be asked. So it's over. The time's up. You're not going to get the money. Just talk about it. Next week, we're going to talk about Thor. We'll definitely go into Stranger Things more because that'll give everybody like 2 weeks. Talk a little bit more about, hopefully we'll have some updates on Star Wars and this whole Disney thing. I'm sure that everybody's going to give them their money.
I don't see how they couldn't
do it. It's going to be crazy. And I'm sure we'll have some other cool stuff. So thanks for checking us out, everybody. Remember, Geek Street, located in the heart of downtown Kokomo. Check out Kokomo Toys and Collectibles, Comics Cubed, and if you're into vinyl, stop on by next door and check out Kokomo's High Fidelity.
American Dream Hi-Fi.
Thank you. Be groove, everybody.